Attention to the step out of the and the Soviv.
It's not secure.
I did it.
So it's something, but it's not secure.
Okay, I have to get rainboard to insert it. Thank you. Shouldn't have fallen out in the first place. Let's start at the very bottom of page Kuf Memvav, and then we go straight, because we're stamping over here. Although that generally speaking, Atzilus hu bechinas soiviv l'gabe biyah, he is an element of soiviv in comparison relative to biyah. Again, soiviv means that is encompassing. It is providing, so to speak, the background, the AYIN element for biyah. So therefore, this is an infant soiviv. Ein soiv. Mekomo came still. Biprotes hamadreges. Biprotes hamadreges harei bechinas pnimi. Biprotes hamadreges means if we go down through the whole Seder Hishtalshalus, after the Tzimtzum and so forth, Atzilus is in the Bechina, is an aspect of Oy Pnimi. Excuse me, as you shall see, that Atzilus actually is Oy Bikeli. Pnimi means that it is a Noir that has a specific message, a specific effect, and it has a Keli. It is internalizable. Even though Atzilus is, so to speak, a category on by itself relative to Biyah, it is Soiviv, but in itself it is a Bechinas Pnimi, it has an aspect of Pnimi. What is the pshat? It is an aspect. It is a bechina of a pnimi. The way we can understand it is as follows. We have the daylight. Daylight is a light, but the term light is not even correct for it, because it illuminates automatically the entire existence. It's not a focused light. It illuminates, it changes the entire existence of the world from darkness to light. It's as if darkness itself transformed into light. But then also, this light, the daylight, provides for our ability to read and to identify individual objects. It is not only the overall illumination, but it also serves as a identifier of all the things that there is to identify in the world. One of the criterion to be able to be Kiddush Levona requires that you should benefit from the Levona. You should have some service from the Levona. Then Kiddush Levona is, you can't make a bracha on something that we do not experience. So how do we experience the Levona? There are obviously many things. So what is the bottom line that you can be Kiddush Levona? If you can read Le'oyer HaLevona, if you can take a sefer out and the Levona helps you read it, then it means that this light is actually functional, is beneficial to you, is active in your behalf. This inyan that you can read by, this is called Oyer Pnimi. It is an oil that is associated and divided and identified by a certain activity, a certain function. So we say Atzilus. Atzilus is really a soiviv relative to Biyah. Again, just as we say, daylight is soiviv. Daylight is, this is something which we discussed many, many times. Nonetheless, daylight also has a pnimi effect. In the fact that in daylight you can read much better in daylight than out of it, than even in artificial light, candlelight, which just shines directly on your book. This is an pnimi. This is bechinas a pnimi. It is an element of a pnimi. I'd like if we should recognize the nuance over here. When we walk outside, we spoke about this also many times. Walk outside and we open our eyes and we see the entire view, which the sun, so to speak, unfolds in front of us. The entire view and the entire world, we look all the way into infinity. This is a tremendous experience. This is like a soiviv element. In that situation, you do not pay attention to what, oh, I see. I am even able to see that tree. I'm able to see this. The whole thing is outside, out of darkness. So therefore, this is a soiviv element. It transforms the entire world from one state to another state. But then also there is a bechina, there's an aspect in it of opening. That you actually use daylight to guide you as you walk to avoid any pitfalls, any obstacles, and so forth. Nobody's going to say that this is what daylight is about. But it has the epinimi element. Also. This is what the Rebbe says. Atzilus in generally, there's a Seviv. It's a Lagabe Biyah. It provides for Biyah a perspective that is completely beyond the limits of Biyah, of a world, of a creation. I'd like to elaborate on it if you don't mind. Why is Atzilus? Atzilus is a world, and Bria is a world. Atzilus is a Bekeli, Chochmah Bina Das, and Bria is a Chochmah Bina Das. Why is it we say that this is categorically different?
What's categorically different?
Atzilus
versus everything below it?
Versus Bria, right? Atzilus is a Soibiv relative to Bria, to Bia. Okay, this is something that I'd like your attention. Otherwise, I'm just going to be talking in circles. The word Atzilus means emanation. Bria means creation. What is the difference between creation and emanation? Emanation, we'll start from that. They will see, they will be impressed with. Emanation, yes, it is also a creation. In words, it emanates and it tells you, it gives you certain messages and certain principles, but you immediately see that this principle that it gives you is actually revealing to you what's doing deeper down in the source. Creation is something which does not reconnect you back to the source. It is where you identify it. I don't think I have to elaborate on this anymore, because this is something which is very obvious. We experience it all the time. There are things that we experience, and if we experience, we see them, but we see them directly as they emanate from the source.
So in Atzilus it's not Yesh Ma'ayin?
No. Let's leave that for a moment. Atzilus is not a Bria, it's not Yesh Ma'ayin, it's Netzel, it emanates.
It's not really a world.
It is a world.
Well, how so?
But it's not a created world. It's a world, it's called World Eliki, a God, a divine world.
Oh.
Now this is what I wanted about. What is the primary difference between Atzilus and Bria? Atzilus means it emanates, which means there is no question as to how come it's here. It's divine presence.
The source is seen. Divine
is a reality itself. You don't ask a question where is divine presence. A Bria, yes, what brings it here? This is why Atzilus, L'Rabbe Bria, is Shalei B'Yerech. Is Seivul L'Gabe Mamali. Atzilus is a statement of a fundamental reality. Bria is also true, but it is a created reality. And that's why Atzilus, L'Rabbe Bria, is a Seviv type. Seviv means a fundamental reality. I'm going to give a moshel which is not accurate, but for the moment it'll help us understand. It says that Atzilus is actually a Chochmah. Machshava Dibur U'Maisa begins from Bria. Bria is Machshava, Atzili is Dibur, Atzili is Mais. But just for the moment, to understand the difference, when a person speaks,
Sorry.
It's okay.
when a person speaks, you're looking, where is this sound coming from? Oh, he's creating it. Thought does not elicit the question, where does the thought come from?
You mean even for the thinker?
Even for the thinker. The Gemara says, "Machshava m'sheitefes tomit." Thought is fluttering all the time. A person is never absent of thought, so as long as he lives, because thought is an emanation of the life force. Even though this is on a completely different level, it's on a conscious level. Life is a super conscious. Nonetheless, it is like an active level. Atzilus, for the moment, to understand the difference, Atzilus is like thought. It's an emanation. It speaks. It tells you what you're thinking, what is going on inside. Even though, as I said, in more technical terms, thought, Atzilus is higher than thought. Atzilus is called HaSeichel itself.
Yeah.
And this is what he says. Gabe biya Atzilus is bemessen soiviv. Mikomo came still in the top line again. Mikomo came still biprotis amadregis. A more specific identification, harei ze bechina so pnimi. Atzilus is a bechina of a pnimi. If you use the most of thought, I said it's not accurate. Nonetheless, it gives us a means to relate to it. Thought is a constant. We don't even know what we're thinking about, but we think about something. Thought is not just experience of life. There is some kind of a content there. Therefore, thought is in the category of pnimi. So this is what Rabbi is going to explain. That even though Atzilus, I know it, is a soiver l'gabe biyah, beproteus, when you identified on more proteus relative to higher and to lower, this is b'china soy pnimi. B'hine, okay, at the end of the top line, on Kuf Mem Zayin. Okay, we finally graduated to Kuf Mem Zayin. B'hine, for behold, Atzilus diklolus. Atzilus diklolus. The Atzilus of the level of klolus. Klolus means a klal, an all-encompassing, on a general level. I'll explain in a moment. Let me just finish the next line. The harei. Therefore, behold, Vadai surely b'bchinas seviv. Surely it is in the level of seviv, legabe biyah hakloliyim, relative to biyah hakloliyim. This is, I don't know if it's totally new to you, but we never discussed it. Atzilus de klolis, bria de klolis, and so forth. In general, very briefly, just as we know that there are four worlds, Atzilus, Bria, Tzir, Asiya, this is within, so to speak, in our period, in our orientation. There is what's called Atzilus de Klolos, and Bria de Klolos, which is way before an identifiable presence. Yet there are these different madrigas in it. If we go a little bit further, we'll be able to discuss it even more. Atzilus the Klolis is certainly Yanim from Soiviv to Biyah HaKlolim. The Atzilus the Klolis, okay, now we'll have some kind of a basis to discuss. The Atzilus the Klolis, Atzilus the Klolis, that level of Atzilus, that's called Atzilus of the level of Klolus. Klolus means all-encompassing. Hu, Ho'er, Ein Sof, Shlifnei HaTzimtzum. This is the Ein Sof that precedes the Tzimtzum. Should we go there or not?
With exception.
Okay. Okay. In order to do that, because we've never learned this in Yonim, I have to revert back to another set, another level of moshels, of Mesholim.
Just real quick, in terms of terminology, it says Atzilus the Klolos. This is talking about Atzilus looking at a larger picture. What does it mean? It says the Klolos of Atzilus.
We spoke many times. We pointed out an interesting thing. You build a house on Earth and you replicate it on Mars. And you all tend to understand and realize that there is a fundamental difference. Even though the house itself is identical, still you say it does not represent the same thing. Why not? What's the difference? The difference is that Earth, even if there's nothing on it, no house is there, it has an overall presentation of a life-providing, supporting element. Even if there's nothing there. Mars does not have that. Even if you build a house there, it doesn't have the life-supporting element. We could say, in the terminology that we're learning over here is, excuse me, life-supporting element means that this is already part of a created world, created level. This is not something which represents the divine truth. It is made for some kind of a function. It has a definitive function. Mars is just there. Doesn't have a definitive function. The fact that you can fly up and put a house there, it's because you go into a different realm. It's not there waiting for you to build a house. It's therefore in our form of talking, we say, we could say that Mars is outside of the realm of of the created, of a functional world, a reality. Nonetheless, how do we find Mars? It is within, so to speak, the general atmosphere. Mars is not billions of miles away, like the stars are. It is reachable. It is within the identifiable,
It's in the solar system.
within the realm that we can relate to. So in that case, so therefore we could say that it does have a supporting element, but on a remote level, close. In general, you're still within the world environment when you go to Mars. You're not in a functional level, but still within the world environment. It's called the close. If you fly off to some remote planet or star, you complete the outside of this system. Now, here is the point that we have to. What's the matter?
Are there actual guys preparing for life on Mars?
What?
There are actual people preparing for life on Mars.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Wait, 1 second before the.
Huh?
Okay. The important point is this. How come, if there is not an actual preparatory element to support this life and so forth, how come you could build a house there? How come you can even project that? You can project it not as it being part of your world. You can project it as being part of the source of world. This is called Dair HaSoviv. It is still within the realm of reality, but on a different level. Just as we spoke many, many times. Now when you speak, the speech is preceded by thought. The thought is preceded by an emotional recognition. The emotional recognition is preceded by an intellectual recognition. The intellectual recognition is preceded by Rotzen and identity. There are many different levels of identification of reality that precede the practical action. And I pointed out many times, a healthy human being, when he does a very simple thing, pick up this little piece of paper, he's not just picking up the paper. This piece of paper is part of the reality of the whole reality. Just real as the whole reality. It is reflective of the reality of the creation, even though it is totally insignificant. This is why, when you walk and you see a stumbling block in front of you, you say, "Hey, what's going on? Where does this come from?" It's okay. I can bypass it. It's part of the big reality. It needs to be cleaned up to prepare for this level of activity, but it's part of the reality. I'm not right now in Mars, or I'm not in a different realm. Okay. And this is called Atzilus de Klolos. Atzilus de Klolos means the very beginning, the Atzilus level. Atzilus means an emanation that is not yet really the reality world. It emanates from this from the super reality, from godliness itself.
So the fact that we project putting a house on Mars.
What?
So the fact that we can project putting a house on Mars comes not from this world, because it's
No,
something
that means that you recognize that there is a greater presence than your functional presence. It is part of a broader perspective. It's not outside, like you said, outside of the solar system.
Wait, it's crazy, but it's indicative of a reality beyond
Practically,
the one
it's
providing
crazy.
for us.
Practically, it's crazy.
Right,
But not conceptualization.
You can conceptualize it.
Yeah, and it points to a makif reality that's beyond functional provision. Right?
That's right, exactly.
Okay.
You can even, this is what the difference between before the Tzimtzum and after the Tzimtzum. After the Tzimtzum, you're already focused on allowing a supporting world. Eventually. Before the Tzimtzum, the world doesn't even exist in concept.
Okay.
But there is a reality there anyway. But it's a completely different realm. It's part of the source reality. Let's see inside.
And that was higher than Atzilus that we described, correct? Because Atzilus is already on the way to becoming...
That's right. It's called Atzilus de Klolos.
Oh, okay.
Second line from the top at the very end. The Atzilus de Klolos, follow this. Atzilus de Klolos hu ha'oir ein soif shelifnei hatzimtzum. Atzilus de Klolos, this is the oir ein soif, that is before the Tzimtzum. What is before the Tzimtzum mean? Before there was a focus on world or of emanation. It is there because it's contained within the Ein Sof itself. V'hainu, which is referring to, which would be Shoroshei ha'orois ha'klulim be'Ein Sof. The roots of the oiris that are klulim be'Ein Sof, that are actually incorporated and included in the Ein Sof itself. In Ein Sof itself, there is the root for oiris. Within the life force throbbing in your neshama, there is a root for thought. But it's a completely different level. Thought is after the tzimtzum, after you relate to the world already. Please think with me for a moment. If there were no different situations in this world, thought would not be aroused by looking at the sky. Thought would be aroused by looking at some definitive place.
What point are we making? Thought is derived from looking at definitive stuff. So
Thought is aroused. Thought is a process of comparing.
it's outside of Atzilus. It's already
That's right,
worldly stuff.
that's right. It's a comparison. What is this like compared to this? So this is already a creation. This is not part of the greater reality.
We thought it is so mundane. It's funny that it's continuously sending a signal from the neshama. Seemingly, it would just be making.
Not from the neshama, from the koychat hanefesh. Koychat hanefesh comes from the neshama. Oinig verotzen. We can relate, listen to this. We can relate to sky, which we can't touch. We can relate to sky because we know and we recognize a truth that we do not even understand, but this is our support.
Yeah, which seems to be beyond thought.
Beyond thought.
So hence, why would thought be continuous and almost...
Because thought is how they translate that beyond thought into thought. Because in order for you to function here, you have to have the entire Seder Ishtalshalos right here. In order for you to, as I said before, you want to walk, to bypass a stumbling block. Yeah, I'm walking here, now I have to go around it. So where am I going? Am I going around it? Am I off the world? Right? I'm still within the security of the world, but a broader world. How do I know it's there? I know because that it's provided, that the world is provided with all kinds of broader realities.